So it's been a while since I rode a Tracer 7. I think it's been about 3 years actually. And I don't know that I've ever ridden a Tracer 7 GT. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. But that's what I'm on today. It's a 2025 Tracer 7 GT. So Yamaha sort of mid-range, entry-level sport tourer if you like. All sorts of updates for 2025, including a new frame, new suspension, some styling tweaks, and all sorts of other stuff. So if you're interested in this bike, stick around and stay tuned. Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Welcome back to Great Missenden on a slightly gloomy autumnal day. And welcome to my first ride review of the 2025 Tracer 7 GT, as I say. Middleweight sports tourer. If you like, it's sort of Yamaha's entry level into their sport touring range, the Tracer 9 GT, I guess being their flagship. This is very much like a slightly smaller, lighter version of that. And the first thing you notice about it when you jump on is just how light it feels. Of course, we will go through the specs later and I'll give you all the numbers, but in terms of riding it, it just feels lovely and nimble and light. I mean, I'm used to riding big heavy adventure bikes, so jumping on something like this is a real treat. So this is a bike that immediately, I think, if you're either maybe new into biking, you want to get yourself an excellent all-rounder stroke adventure stroke touring type bike, or maybe you've been riding for ages and you just want something that's a little bit easier to manage, a little bit lighter to move around the garage or whatever, then this could be absolutely up your street. I don't want to belittle it either in saying that, because it's you know, it's a bike that would suit experienced riders that wants something to go touring on. I instantly know that I'm going to like this bike. Twin cylinder engine on here has got a nice growl to it. It's the CP2 motor, which I think stands for cross plane, which I think in the case of this engine basically just means it's got the 270-degree firing order that makes it sound a bit more snarly, and it sounds nice on here. This camera doesn't do a great, or the mic I should say, doesn't do a great job of picking up engine noise, but yeah, it's got a nice pleasing note to this motor. Before we get too much into how she rides, let's take a look over her, shall we? Okay, here she is, Tracer 7 GT in 2025, guys. This is my favourite colour. They do it in a black and they do it in this sort of grey. I can't remember the exact names that they give them now, but what I like about this are these rather blingy wheels. Some people don't like this sort of thing, but I don't know why more bike manufacturers don't put multicoloured wheels on their bikes. I just think it elevates it to a different level. Otherwise, you know, quite a boring paint scheme, you could say, but I think it looks nice. You also get these fetching gold forks on the Tracer 7 GT, which I don't think you get on the standard Tracer. Very nice indeed. They've done some nice things with fit and finish on it. I like, for example, these plastics. Look, they've got like a texture on there, which just makes it feel a bit more premium. I like all that. The sculpted tank looks nice. Usual Yamaha, brilliant build quality in terms of things like paint, finish and so on. It just feels like it's going to be really good. Check out that seat. This is a new design for this year. Two-piece, got that stepped arrangement with that contouring. There's the panniers, which are lifted straight off of the Tracer 9. Unfortunately, a side opening. I'm not a big fan of side opening panniers, and they look well, they look massive, don't they? I think they might be 25 litres. I mean, they're pretty big. You can get a helmet in each side. Just to prove it, I'll open one. There we go. And that's my Schubert, whoops, that's my Schubert C5 in there. So yeah, you can get a helmet in there. People always ask about getting helmets in panniers, don't they? I always think, well, if you're touring, your panniers are going to be full with your stuff, so you're not going to be putting your helmet in there. But anyway, there we go. They feel a little bit flim-flam, to be honest, the panniers, but they are capacious. They do the job. Relatively easy to use. Alright, coming around this side then, probably no need for a tail tidy on this particular bike. Quite neat there. Not a big hideous, well, slightly hideous, but it's metal, not plastic. Don't think I'd change that. It's not many bikes I say that about. But yeah, coming around this side, more of the same really. Oh, the centre stand down there. Well, let's come around this side actually. Sorry, I should have mentioned that when I was around here. Check out the front. It's got that sort of Panigale looking nose, which I really like. Yeah, they've changed the design of the exhaust as well. They've got this little stubby exhaust now, which means that they can make the centre stand smaller, which comes standard on here. So that's all nice and neat. And I've given it a try. Very easy to get it on the centre stand, which is nice. Anyway, attractive looking bike, I think, as sports tourers go. It's a nice looker, isn't she? Alrighty, so much for what she looks like. What about the ride? Well, First thing you notice when I jump on a bike is always comfort and riding position, and this one scores definitely on riding position. I'm just in that neutral riding position, which is the sort we could do for hours on end, which is exactly what you want on a sport touring bike. I'm sat upright, my knees slightly acute but not a sporty angle at all. No weight on my wrists whatsoever, and the handlebars feel nice and wide. The seat itself, quite a nice shape to it, but I would say it feels quite hard. So this is very much my first ride review. Time will tell how it fares over longer distances. At the moment it feels absolutely fine because I've only been on the bike a quarter of an hour, but at the moment I'm thinking, yeah, this is quite a hard seat. Little blind overtake here. Nice to see somebody out on a bicycle that's not an electric one for a change, isn't it? Old school, like it. Right, nip by it quick. Spools up really quickly, this engine. It's a lovely unit actually. And it really feels like you can chuck the bike about. It's a lot of fun, this. And boy, it goes. Great fun. This is one of those bikes that it sort of falls into the all the bike you'll ever need type category, because you can do everything on this. You can carry loads of kit because you've got the panniers, and if you want there's an optional top box. You take your missus on the back, go touring, or you can just have fun around the local lanes of a weekend, or indeed you can commute on it because it'd be great for weaving through traffic as well. Right, one of the things they've changed on this version of GT, I don't think I rode the previous one, so I can't really comment how it compares to previously, but is the suspension. So let's have a little go at my suspension testing road here. Look, it's the bumpiest road I know around here. It's just awful state of tarmac. Suspension's nice. There's nothing particularly complex on here. I think it's KYB suspension. It is fully adjustable, but I'm assuming this is set just as it comes out the factory, and it feels nice. It's just in that pleasant zone. I weigh around about 11 stone, so of course it depends how much you weigh, but for me this is just set nice. I wouldn't fiddle with it at all. It does have a remote preload adjuster on the back, so if you are taking someone on the back then you can wind that up very easily to add a bit more preload on. Yeah, it feels nice, not too harsh, not too soft. Unfortunately my missus won't go on the back of any bike without a top box. This one doesn't have a top box, so she wouldn't come out with me on the back to give a sort of pillion view of what the Tracer 7 GT is like, so sorry about that, but I see no reason to believe it wouldn't be great for a pillion. Although if you're going to do mostly two-up riding, then maybe you'd want to look at Tracer 9 GT just for a little bit more power. Not that this is in any way lacking. Riding modes on here, beautifully easy to change. There's a button on the right here, Mark mode, look, and I'm in sport at the moment. You literally just press it. This is custom mode and this is street mode, and they just changed the sort of power map and the traction control. I have to say, having been in sport and now going to street, I can't notice much immediate difference. It's not one of the bikes, those bikes where there's a huge difference. Just close my visor because it's getting a bit windy as we come down my little handling road, and that suspension is in good shape. Feels nice. It's so light, the steering. It's one of those bikes you just kind of think about where you want to put it, and over she goes. It's got Yamaha's new switch gear on here. Well, I say new, they've probably been using it now for about 3 years. The indicator I still have trouble with their big seesaw button, but you do get used to it once you've ridden it for a bit. Yeah, she winds up a tree. This big screen on the touring version of the bike, the GT, does quite a nice job actually of keeping the wind off you. At slightly slower speeds, I've got it in the uppermost position at the moment, and it's manually adjustable. You just do it with this handle here. But at slightly slower speeds, I felt a little bit of wind hitting the top of my helmet and a little bit of buzziness. But winding up a bit faster on that road then, actually pretty good. I can feel a little bit of air now. I'm doing what, 58 miles an hour. I can feel a little bit of wind hitting me in the face. So if you're taller than me, I'm 5'8", and you might find that this screen isn't as good as it looks. As it looks massive, but yeah, I'm getting a little bit at the top of the helmet. Let's see if I can move it down. I don't like doing this on the move. Come on. Oh, you push it forward, there you go. If you push it forward, it's easy. Right, that's the lowermost position. And it's a bit more noisy, definitely getting a bit more air around the face. But I'm not sure it's any worse, and the visibility is actually better. So yeah, jury's out on that screen. Have to take it on a longer ride to see how that fares. No wind much around my legs though. Generally I feel quite nicely protected with these big handguards and so on. Really easy bike to ride this. Friendly sort of character to it. Confidence inspiring. Like it. So switch gear then, typically new Yamaha. As I mentioned, you've got the big seesaw button here for your indicators. You've got a joystick here to control the various menu functions. It's very easy to use actually, and I think they've probably designed this with gloved hands in mind, because it's very easy to use with your gloves on. It's all very positive, you know when you've touched it, which is all nice. You can see we've got cruise control on here as well, which is a nice touch for this sort of bike, of course. The TFT itself is new compared to the last Tracer that I rode. If anything, it's a little bit small maybe, but it's nice and clear. There's lots of different themes. I've changed it. This is theme 4 I'm using, which is almost BMW-esque the way it looks. But yeah, you can change that, and it's easy to use. The one thing I would say, this bike has heated grips, which I've got on at the moment. I'm pleased to say you need them this time of year. It's 10 degrees at the moment. But you do have to go through the menus to get the heated grips on. It's not a big deal, and it's very intuitive. I don't have the manual for this bike, but I worked out how to turn the heated grips on very quickly. So it's not a pain of going through lots of menus and faffing about like you have to on, say, a BMW R1300 GS. You know, it's not deep inside the menus, it's only a couple of clicks away. But I personally would still rather see a button, but no, not a showstopper. Talking of stoppers, got nothing behind me. Let's give the brakes a go. Got Yamaha brakes on here, nothing behind me. Let's give the front a go. Very good indeed, actually. Really nice. Not terrible amount of fork dive either. It does pitch down at the front as you'd expect, but not in a terrible wallowy way. It's all nicely under control, and a nice and consistent feel to the brakes. I like them a lot actually. Quite a lot of braking power on the front. Twin discs of course, and then 4-pot calipers. 2 of. So yeah, a lot of bite on the front. Let's just try the rear. Pretty good actually. ABS cuts in quite quick, but that's often the case with rear brakes, isn't it? And it's a bit of a damp day on the road, so a little bit slippery. Alright, let's talk over the numbers, shall we? Right, there's that CP2 engine, 690cc parallel twin. It's now Euro 5 Plus compliant, puts out 54 kilowatts, and according to Google, that's 72.4 brake horsepower and 68 newton meters of torque. The good news is, as far as I'm concerned, it's optimised for mid-range performance, which is what you want in the real world. Brakes on the front have been updated. These are dual 298mm discs with Yamaha 4-pot calipers. On the rear, you've got this single 245mm disc with a Nissan single-pot caliper. Suspension on the front is now got 41mm adjustable KYB upside-down forks. On the rear, you've got coil spring suspension with this remote preload adjuster. Seat height on the bike is 845mm as standard, which sounds quite tall, and it's even adjustable up by another 20mm. Weight of the Tracer 7 GT, 212 kilograms wet, or if you go for the one with the YAMT Auto box, that's another 2 kilograms. So it's 10 kilograms more than the standard Tracer 7, but it still feels light. Fuel tank capacity is now 18 litres, that's up a litre over the old outgoing bike. Electronics wise, you've got this new 5-inch TFT, which is nice and clear. If anything, I'd say it was a little bit small, but otherwise nice. You've got switchable traction control, riding modes, LED headlights, heated grips, new assisted slipper clutch, connectivity, cruise control. I think I've about covered it. Price of the bike at time of filming is £10,104. The standard T7 is £8,804, so you're paying $1,300 extra for the GT, and for that you're getting quite a lot extra. You're getting that bigger screen, you're getting the luggage, you're getting the slightly more upright riding position. I think it's not a bad price. Only other thing I want to mention is that you can get various option extras, of course, with including things like a top box, and they do a number of packs as well for the bike. They call those Sport, Tour and Urban. You can guess what they're all about, but check out the Yamaha website for full details. Alright, welcome back to this autumnal ride. Even though the weather's starting to get a little bit colder now, it's still an absolute joy to be out in the fresh air on a motorbike. I'm a big car fan too, and I enjoy driving, but if I had the choice, if I had to go for fun, just with a sports car or a bike, I think a bike would always win, wouldn't it? It'd be better if I lived in Spain or somewhere though, where the climate was a bit more appreciable, conducive, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I digress. Back to the Tracer 7 GT. So what else is new about the bike? Well, it's got a new frame. It's been strengthened and stiffened, so now it can take a bit more weight on the back, and it's supposed to make the ride feel better. Again, I can't comment that because I didn't ride the bike before. Just know it's got a beefy frame. Compared to the standard Tracer, the sort of riding position is slightly different in that it's a little bit higher at the front end. The handlebars are raised up a little bit. I think they're possibly wider as well, I'm not sure, but they're certainly raised up a bit, just to make the riding position a bit more neutral. And as I say, it's a very comfortable place to be. Nothing behind. Let's just take the jazz. Yeah, no lack of power for overtakes. It's like I said, very easy bike to ride. Nothing about this is difficult or intimidating. It's got all the right level of tech on it. It's an absolute cracker. Clutchless gear changes down, no problem at all. There is an optional quick shifter, I believe, for this actually. This hasn't got that, but it does have now an assist and slipper clutch. That's new for the 2025 model year, and it's lovely and light. Just as good as any Triumph is usually what I quote as the light clutches on bikes, and this is just as good as any Triumph. Slip and assist clutch like that, nice move. Got a port down here, I think that's a USB port under there. Yeah, there we go, it's a USB type C look, so you can keep your phone charged up. It does have connectivity on here, so via an app, which is a bit of a nuisance, which is why I haven't tried it yet. You can get turn-by-turn navigation and all that sort of caper on here, which would be very useful, it being a touring bike. Let's see if I can move this up again. There we go. Yeah, it's straightforward enough to move up and down while you're on the move. Mirrors work excellently well. Just got the right length of stalk, so you're not looking at your arms all the time. Alrighty, well, won't you join me here at Great Missenden train station, the location and site of my lugging about test. I think I know how this is probably going to go, but this is where basically I test what it's like to move the bike around, if like simulating what it'd be like in your garage to move it around, and also just checking out what the turning circle's like. So let's do this for the Tracer 7 GT then. I suspect it'll do quite well. Gosh, a few leaves about, but we'll get the general gist. Right, really I should park on the line of course, but I started doing it in the middle of the parking space, so I shall continue. Alrighty, nice and easy to find neutral. Let me just show you where my feet are on the deck. Look, I'm on the balls of my feet, both sides. I'm 5'8" with a 32-inch leg, so that's how I sit on it. Okay, there we go. Nice and easy. I mean, it doesn't come over a long way, which is nice. And yeah, nice looking bike. Something I didn't mention when we did the look around, by the way, are the tyres that come as standard on this. Michelin Road 6, which is my favourite sport touring tyre. So excellent tyres that come with this as standard. Anyway, let's do the lugging about then, see what she's like. Easy to get off the side stand, feels as light as you like. Let's go around a full lock, see what the turning circle's like. Round we go, yeah, feels lovely and light. Really nice actually, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yeah, nice and light. Middle of that one to the sort of outer third of that one, so actually not as tight a turning circle as I expected. Puts it in the sort of medium to large turning circle category actually, but despite that, I wouldn't say this is going to be a difficult bike to live with in any way. It's easy to lift off the side stand, it's easy to get on the centre stand, it just feels nice and light. For a bike that sort of looks pretty substantial like this does, really easy to live with. I guess my sort of overwhelming impression after this first ride is that it just feels a very light bike. Not in any way flimsy, but I'm just thinking, would I want to tour with somebody on the back? It's a shame I can't have a go with my missus on the back. But I think, as I mentioned, I probably would go Tracer 9 GT if I wanted to go 2-up touring. Not that this would in any way struggle, but I just think it would change the character of the bike so much having that extra weight on the back. But if you ride solo touring, this would be absolutely perfect. So I've got this bike for some time longer yet. I'm hoping to bring you a sort of a summing up review in a week or two's time when I've had more chance to digest the bike and find some more out about it, maybe some things I don't like, because at the moment there's not much about this bike I don't like, I have to say. First impressions are very good. If you just jumped on one another test ride, you know, because you were thinking of going down this sort of route, I think you'd be very tempted. It looks nice, it rides nice, it goes well, it stops well. All the basic stuff's covered. There's no glaring flaws that I can see. That twin-cylinder engine's lovely, it's got a nice note about it, and it's got a quality feel. Japanese bikes are always reliable, aren't they? This one's actually made in France, would you believe? I didn't even know Yamaha had a factory in France, but apparently, I think I read they knock out something like 400,000 powered two-wheelers from the French factory in Saint Quentin every year. I might be wrong on that number, but maybe if I was clever I'd check it out and put the actual number on the screen. But anyway, it's a lot of bikes that they're making in France. I had no idea. So yeah, one of the taglines in the press pack was that it's designed in Europe for Europeans, but you know, I'm a European and it appeals to me. Anyway, there we go, that's my first ride review. Do hit the subscribe button on the channel if you haven't done already, because there will be more coming on the Tracer 7 GT soon, as well as lots more besides. So alright, that's it for now. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Mr. and Fly. Cheerio. Of course, the real test for how good a bike is how does it make you feel when you're riding it, and I have to say, this is a joyous motorcycle. I've got a grin on my face. I'm absolutely loving riding it. It's a cracker. Stop recording.